Committee. And I really didn't intend to do this, but I was not at the chair's debate last night, but I heard that there was a statement made at the chair's debate that there was a lack of leadership on the Libertarian National Committee. And I do not agree with that statement at all, and I particularly do not agree, I'm biased, I'm on the LNC, but I particularly disagree with that characterization of Geoff Neale as chair. And I'll give you a couple of examples. First of all, the purchase of a building that Geoff Neale kicked off back in November 2010. He came to the meeting in New Orleans, put the idea of buying a building on the table, moved it forward. It wasn't always smooth sailing, but it got done. He started it, he got it moving. During his term as chair, it finally got done. And when I was treasurer of the Libertarian National Committee in the prior term, I did a financial analysis of what it was going to save this party to buy a building. And it was my calculation that I know this is a little nerdy speak, accountant speak, but the present value, the savings of the present value of future occupancy cost savings by buying a building for this party was over $1 million. It was over $1 million, and the main mover and shaker. What would you say if somebody raised $1 million? Well, Geoff Neale helped this party save over $1 million by the occupancy costs by buying a building and seeing it through. And that is leadership. That is leadership that absolutely is going to benefit this party in the long run. During the past LNC term, Geoff Neale has been a great person to work with, and he has been incredibly supportive of many people on the LNC and their endeavors in doing their thing. My thing is ballot access. When the Pennsylvania LP was challenged, I won't go through all the horrors of Pennsylvania ballot access laws, but it's a challenged state. And our petitions were challenged, and the Constitution petitions were challenged. Constitution Party petitions were challenged in 2012. And on the second day of the challenge period, the Republican Party made an offer to the Constitution Party that they couldn't refuse. And that was, you throw in the towel, quit your petition, quit defending the signatures of your petition, and we won't seek court costs. In Pennsylvania, parties can have court costs pursued, and it could cost $80,000 or $100,000. They took a vote, the Constitution Party threw in the towel, and they weren't on the ballot in Pennsylvania in 2012. Well, the next day, the Republican Party came to us with an offer that we couldn't refuse, and it was the same offer. You quit by 3 p.m. today, and we won't seek court costs. So I thought, maybe I ought to call the chair about this, and so I did. And Geoff Neale basically said to me, he asked me, first of all, do you think you have enough signatures? And I said yes. And I said, and he absolutely supported me. He said, we are not going to knuckle under to this extortion from the Republican Party in Pennsylvania. We're not going to knuckle under to this. We're going to see this through. And it's that sort of support and leadership that I have seen during this past term from Geoff Neale. Plus the financial contributions, the substantial contributions that both he and his wife Nancy, well over $20,000 combined over their lifetimes to the Libertarian National Committee alone, aside from contributions to state parties and candidates. They've been very generous with their financial contributions over the years, and it's for all those reasons, leadership and past performance, that this man has exemplified, that I'm going to vote for Geoff Neale for LNC chair, and I urge you to do as well. And thank you very much.
Wow, I didn't think it'd be that good for me. I'm humbled. Thank you very much, Mr. Redpath. I've passed out what I'm calling my resume. This is not a campaign promotion. I don't approach this as a campaign for two reasons. Number one is I'm chair. I'm still chair. I'm going to be chair until you vote me out or I drop dead on the job. Or I don't run. And so what I put in front of you is a very simple resume. The back page is what I've done, highlights the libertarian movement. I've been committed to it for more than 30 years. Also some career highlights of the kind of things I do. Now, the chair is the chair of a board. I don't know that either, well, maybe my candidates have, but I have experience on the board of insurance companies as an executive in the technical industry. I was a CIO. In fact, I was on board so long ago, I was a vice president of an insurance company at 25 years old. And I was always kind of a brash young guy. I took on things and said, yeah, I'll do it. And this brash young guy served on the LNC for 3 terms before he felt ready to run for state chair in Texas. And the first thing I did in Texas was to take our record number of candidates run of something like 57, I believe it was. And somebody can tell me I got the number wrong, but within a few months we had 175 candidates. We tripled the record. That was on my first term. So I served there for 4 years, still on the LNC at the same time, and decided that having learned from the LNC and taken what I learned from the LNC and put it to practice in Texas, that now I was ready to tackle being national chair. And let me tell you, it's a whole nother level. I was as prepared as I could be before I got there. I don't think anybody, in fact, Pat Dixon, my good friend, said, Jeff, will you support me for running for national chair? And I said, Pat, you've never been on the national committee. No. Pat Dixon, this award winner, I do not believe, was ready to be a national chair from just being the state chair without serving on the LNC. There is a lot of knowledge you're not going to pick up anywhere else. So anyway, I want to tell you about the job of chair really quickly because I think you ought to know what it's about. For 2 or 3 or 4 days every 2 years, I'm standing up here in front of you, doing the best I can. It's not really a very important job in the grand scheme of things because, well, I can put somebody in here who's better, just like I did with Mr. Redpath taking over for me, Dr. Lark now. I do the best I can. It's not the most important job. Chairing an LNC meeting, probably a little more important. After all, we meet like 6 times over 2 years for 2 days at a time. That's 12 days out of every 700. Well, what else is that? Well, the chair is the chief executive officer of the Libertarian Party. That is an executive position. He has to administer, manage, direct, and set priorities for staff where the LNC does not, which is most of the cases. He also has to deal with the fact of how staff can meet the requirements and requests of the LNC when staff is told to pull miracles out of their butt. He has to stand between them. He has to represent the LNC and also protect the staff and try to get as much done as he can. Now understand the LNC. In our last meeting, we had motions for approximately $150,000, this last full one back in March, $150,000 in additional expenses, and a recommendation for $4,500 in revenues. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is a dysfunctional board when people are making motions like this. This is saying, let's have staff just figure out how to raise more money. We're Congress. We'll just spend it like it's going out of style. And that's what too often the board acts like. We have people on the board who do step up and give money or raise money. But in most nonprofits in the world and most political parties, it's give and get. Leadership means stepping up and giving money, being a life member, being a pledger, doing all of those things, being an example for others. I understand that in order to stand before a major donor saying, please, will you help us? I can't go there with empty pockets going, but I don't give anything. It doesn't work. Now, so what am I going to do? I've got on here the projects that are already, like I said back in 2002, a goal without a plan is just a dream. I have plans. We have plans that are already in effect. Staff have started on some are ready to go, but they need funding. But here's the problem. 9 men and 1 woman cannot make a baby in 1 month. Some stuff just takes time.
A little less, not 36.
Some stuff just takes time. When there's 83 things on the task list, you have to figure out what you can do and move forward. You want a more successful LNC, you want a bigger LP, I'll tell you what you can do. You can put the best people you can get on the board, and there is nobody who can match my experience in business and in the party of achievements in a broader range than me of the 3 candidates. They're both great guys. I love them both. You have to be the ones that are the difference. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Help me be part of the solution.